Theodor. Sorry about that. I didn't see you come in. Hey, how you doing today, everybody? Anyway, I'm just fucking around. Hey, everybody! Welcome back to another episode of the Need a Lift podcast. That's right, this is the Need a Lift podcast with me, your happy host, Clyde always. Joined as always, as ever, by my lovely little wifey here, Mrs. Kaylee, the ukulele. Always say hello, Kaylee. Oh, singing like a birdie tonight. Yeah, tonight, that's right. In fact, tonight is no ordinary episode of the Need a Lift podcast because I've had to record this one early. Because I'm headed to Las Vegas tomorrow to have Christmas with the Wenchies, Mama and Dada and baby sister. So that is gonna, and when I say baby sister, I mean her, 24-year-old sister. Anyway, I'm gonna have a Christmas get-together with my in-laws starting tomorrow, so I had to record this podcast early. Hope you don't mind. So it'll be airing on Wednesday if you're watching it. Hopefully it's on Wednesday, or it might be the day after Wednesday. Anyway, I'm decked out in my festive gear, by the way. I know. I look great. You don't have to tell me. And I know it just feels so Christmassy, too. To see Clyde always in his maroon sweater and in his green scarfie. And my mommy made me this scarfie, by the way. I know it looks great. You don't have to tell me, because I know. Anyway, enough about me, all right? Because the Need a Lift podcast is all about you. You creative, you visionary, you dreamer, you free thinker. You. And it's about your good works here on planet Earth. And me offering you a little encouragement, okay? I would never knock you down. I will only ever get with you, pushing that big goddamn rock up that hill, whatever it is that you do. If you're writing a novel, if you're painting a mural, if you're coming up with a new play on the rugby field, a play nobody's ever come. I don't know much about rugby either, but let's say you are sitting down to plot out a plan to deceive your opposing team. I don't know. That's very creative, though. I'm talking about whatever creative vision you have in your heart, in your mind's eye, that you're bringing into the world. I'm here to tell you that it is worthy of being in the world, and you are the only one who can bring it into the world. But it ain't going to be a cakewalk. It is going to be endless nights of hard work. But I'm serious. When you're done, when you lay down, when you set down your pencil, after that 12-hour session of plotting out this or getting ready for that, after writing that sonnet for your sweetheart, after drawing that caricature of Stacey Abrams that you know is going to blow up on Twitter and everybody's going to be giggling about it, all right, whatever it is that you do, you're going to bring that new comics journal into the world, and it will be the name of graphic literature in the 21st century, all right? I know you got it in you, whatever it is you do. You're smelting that metal together on the goddamn kitchen stove, and you're hoping your little lady doesn't come out and say, "What the hell are you doing? You're making a mess!" All right? I don't know, man. I don't know what it is you do, but all I know is that I want you to accomplish it. Don't give up, because there's a lot of people in this goddamn world that have given up. They've given up on themselves, and they want you to give up on yourself, but I'm here to tell you, no, don't do it. Whatever you do. The minute you do that is the minute your whole world will crumble around you. The minute you let go of your vision, the minute you give up on your life, the minute the whole world gives up on you too. So don't do it. I'm here. I'm here for you. If you ever need a little inspiration, a little encouragement, if you ever need a little oomph, a little chutzpah, a little courage, all right, just know that I'm here pulling for you. I'm here to bring it into the world with you, whatever it is, okay? And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that comedy monologue that you're going to go and deliver as soon as this lockdown is over, okay? Let's hope it's over sooner rather than later. In fact, that brings me to the theme of today's pep talk, all right? Yeah, just what happened wasn't a pep talk. That was the preamble to the pep talk. That's right. Every episode of the Need a Lift podcast begins with a pep talk goes to a recitation, or in tonight's case, a reading. That's right, I do fancy myself to be a bit of a poet and a novelist and a storyteller, so stay tuned. I have got a spirited reading from my new book, Samantha Muffinbaker and the Funny Land of Flinck, and if you don't have a copy, I think you would really like a copy, and you can find one at ClydeAlways.com, all right? And in fact, just send me a message. Maybe I can get you a free copy, but that's a big maybe, okay? I don't know. We're strapped for cash now. I lost my steady source of income because of the lockdown. But we're not going to talk about that, because this is about you, whoever you are. Okay, and after my recitation, so that's to say, every episode of the Needle podcast goes from pep talk to reading to the artist spotlight. Every week I highlight some artist or creator or freethinker or visionary or whatever it could be. It could be anybody, all right? So long as they brought something into the world that didn't exist before they came along, all right? So some artist, visionary, creator, spotlight, all right? And then, lastly, I'll always close it out. Not to brag or anything. I'm not being braggadocious, all right? I'm merely stating that in my 34 years, I have lived some wild adventures, okay? I have not spent most of those years behind this screen talking to you, all right? This is a recent development in my life, okay? Oh, I used to get out and about, and in fact, I did a whole lot of adventuring with the backpack and my thumb out on the open road here in the United States of America, which is where I live, which is where I make my happy home, all right? That's right, this is coming from San Francisco, California. Anyway, every episode of the Needle podcast will end with a true life adventure, a true anecdote from, my adventures here. My misadventures, I should say. As a bohemian in San Francisco, California, all right? I'm an artist through and through. That's what I do. That's what I wanted for my life. That's what I have made my life into. It's a never-ending string of adventure and productivity. That's all you gotta do. That's the key to happiness. If you're being sedentary and you're not coming up with much, you might feel a little sad. So fix it. The power is yours. All you got to do is start with one brick at a time. Lay that brick down and put one next to it. And put one next to that. And stack them on up and stagger them and lay the grout in between and keep on going. And your hands are going to get sore. Oh, your back's going to start to ache. But you who have seen the monolithic masterpiece in your mind's eye, you know right where you're headed. And you knew it wasn't going to be easy when you started out, but you got it in you. You got it in you, you whoever you are. Thanks for watching, by the way. Oh, and please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit like, ding the bell, tell a friend, share it on your Facebook, tell your great Aunt Tilly. Don't stop sharing it. Let's get this message out there. There are so many creatives like you and like me who just need a lift. They just need someone to say, hey, you, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. It's worthy. And it's beautiful. And it's amazing. And it's divine. Oh, it's awe-inspiring. It's gonna drop a few jaws, all right? And people are gonna stop and take a good, long, hard look at it. And they'll say, hot damn. That's inspired. Anyway, today's pep talk is all about health. I don't know if you know this, but there is and I'm not being facetious here. Of course you know this. There is a pandemic on. Now, as far as the severity of the pandemic, as far as the necessity of locking down the good works of visionaries like you and I won't get into that. I think I've made my position plenty clear, okay? What I want to talk to you about, you individual you, don't worry about everybody else, I'm talking to you. The best thing, I should say the primary focus of every artist, every creative, every visionary, every free thinker's life should be to maintain a healthy body. Now that's an old cliche, that's an old adage, I know what you're saying. You're saying, yeah, I know Clyde always, I know. But do you? Do you? Because I think nowadays, too, it's real easy to become unhealthy. It's real easy to not even leave the house in a whole day. It's real easy to forget about trimming your toenails. It's real easy to stay in those pajamas all day long. It's real easy to forget how to shine in the sunlight. It's real easy to forget that rush of euphoria you'll feel up on the top of a mountaintop somewhere. That is the key to healthy living, by the way. All right, I'm not a doctor. I know what the doctors are going to tell you. They're going to tell you, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. But you are in control of your own health. Whoever you are. And you know what you need to do. You got to eat your vegetables. You got to get to bed early and jump out of bed in the morning. You got to take a cold shower. You got to put on some clean underpants. You got to strap up your boots or your running shoes or your cleats or whatever it is. You got to get your heart rate up. If you weigh 500 pounds and you forgot about your health 20 years ago, I'm sorry for you. But there's nothing stopping you from taking one step in the right fucking direction. Get on up. Go do it. Go take care of yourself. If you've been stricken with some horrific ailment, I pity you. I'm so sorry to hear that. But there's nothing stopping you from doing what you can. And I know you know that. You do what you can do. Stop letting other people do it for you. Even if it's just getting a box of granola off the fucking shelf, you know you can do it. If you're 100 years old, don't ask me how you're watching this if you're 100 years old, but if you're 100 years old and you're still coherent enough to be getting a lift from old Clyde always, I would say, God damn it, there has got to be something that you can do today that you ain't never done before. Probably wouldn't even be that hard to figure one out. Go do it, you. Or at the very least, go have a laugh. Go find something worth laughing at. Laughter is the key to healthy living. Be lighthearted. Be happy. Be friendly. Be full of life. Stop taking all of these people around you for granted. Their trials and tribulations aren't too different than yours. They were somebody's precious baby at one time. Every goddamn person you see on the street. They said goo goo gaga. Oh yeah. They giggled at this, gaggled at that. They played house with their next door neighbor who they had a puppy love crush on. Just like you and me. Dear Lord. Anyway, where am I going with this? Health. Maintain a healthy body before you can do anything. Before you can write that novel. Before you can write that sonnet. Before you can paint that mural. Before you can make that rugby play. Before you can release that comics journal into the world. You have got to make sure that you are of sound mind and body. And the best way to remain healthy is to think healthy thoughts. Don't manifest in your mind illness. Don't manifest in your mind weakness. Don't manifest in your mind a stubbed toe. And the second you do stub your toe, no. Where am I going with this? I don't know either. It's coming down from above. But as soon as you stub your toe, I might recommend that you say, God damn it, I'm glad I got a toe to stub. You might be crawling around on the ground, hauling yourself here and there with your arms, man. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. So, I'm going to read a brief excerpt from As a Man Thinketh, okay? And this is, for lack of a better word, I should say, my Bible. All right, this is it. This is all the guidance I will ever need. Well, this and the man who tapped the secrets of the universe. But it all has to do with thoughts, manifesting your reality by controlling the thoughts that you have in your brain. You have free will, whoever you are. So be healthy by thinking healthy. Live healthy by thinking healthy. Effect of thought on health and the body. The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. Pardon me. That's what I get for trying to chew gum and do a podcast at the same time. I know. Ow! There we go. I slapped myself on the wrist. Next, at the bidding of the unlawful thoughts of the body, sinks rapidly into disease and decay. At the command of glad and beautiful thoughts, it becomes clothed with youthfulness and beauty. Disease and health-like circumstances are rooted in thought. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as speedily as a bullet, and they are continually killing thousands of people just as surely, though less rapidly. The people who live in fear of disease are the people who get it. Anxiety quickly demoralizes the whole body and lays it open to the creature of disease, while impure thoughts, even if not physically indulged, will soon shatter the nervous system. Strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. The body is a delicate and plastic instrument which responds readily to the thoughts by which it is impressed, and habits of thought will produce their own effects, good or bad, upon it. Men will continue to have impure and poisoned thoughts so long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a defiled mind proceeds a defiled life and a corrupt body. Thought is the fount of action, life, and manifestation. Make the fountain pure, and all will be. Change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. When a man makes his thoughts pure, he no longer desires impure food. Clean thoughts make clean habits. The so-called saint who does not wash his body is not a saint. He has strengthened and purified his thoughts, does not need to consider the malevolent microbe. Pardon me, from the top. He who has strengthened and purified his thoughts does not need to consider the malevolent microbe. And the chapter goes on like that. But that is interesting stuff. Maybe it's not even stuff. Maybe that's the wrong word for what we've just heard. Out of the mind of James Allen. Dear James Allen, everybody. Get yourself a copy of As a Man Thinketh. Might just do you a world of good. So in conclusion, everybody, today's pep talk is all about health, all right? Maintain your health at all costs, okay? I'm talking about you, about your health. So long as you're healthy, you'll have everything you need to bring works of wonder into the world. All right. Hey, everybody, that concludes this week's pep talk. I hope you found it, also inspiring. Okay, and I think it's time to ditch this hat. I'm sick of that hat. Let's go back to the old standard, the old standby. There we go. Okay, hey, everybody, I'm Clyde, always, and I would like to read to you tonight from Samantha Muffinbaker and the Funny Land of Flinck. And this is Chapter 5, all right? And I think it really touches on what I've just been talking about. Samantha and Daniel plummeted through the air like skydivers, shrieking their heads off as the surface of the water threatened to swallow them alive. They braced themselves for a hard crash and splash, but to their amazement, they did not go plunging into the water like a couple of cannonballs. Instead, their fall was broken by something that was all at once solid, springy, slimy, and squishy. "Ow!" bubbled a deep voice from somewhere underneath them. Looking down, they noticed that they were on a slick surface with a hole in the middle of it. "Who said that?" Samantha demanded, peeking curiously into this narrow pit. Then, without warning, a jet of pink water erupted out of it, soaking her from head to foot. "I did," the mysterious voice replied. I think we landed on a whale, Dan reasoned aloud. Samantha rolled her eyes at him as she whipped the water off of her face. This was not the first time he had told her something that she already knew. Daniel leaned over the edge of the whale's back, then he called down into the depths, staggering a fearful apology. We're sorry for hurting you, Mr. Whale. We didn't mean any harm. It was an accident. We swear. Oh, I'm used to it by now, the whale droned sadly. People are always walking all over me. Well, did we hurt you? Samantha asked him in mock concern, and then she added chidingly, Want me to kiss your boo-boo or something? Wouldn't do any good, the whale groaned, in a pitiful way. I always hurt. I'm always in pain. The children then struggled to keep their balance as the whale's back shook under the weight of his heavy sobs. Samantha couldn't help but snicker because she thought it was outrageous for such an enormous beast to be acting so pathetic. Daniel mustered up a bit more sympathy for this tortured creature, and he wanted to help however he could. What's the matter, Mr. Whale? What are you so sad about? Daniel asked in his softest, most concerned-sounding voice. Oh, nothing in particular, the whale answered. Just down in the dumps, I suppose. Poor me, poor little me. Little, Sam repeated in disbelief. Well, you'd be sad, too, if you were in my shoes, the whale muttered. Shoes, Samantha scoffed. Well, you don't even have any feet. She then managed to dodge another stream of salty water, which exploded at her from the dark depths of the blowhole. But why are you so blue? Daniel asked with a gentle tone of voice. Well, that's just it, the whale whimpered. I'm a blue whale. What else can I be? He then started crying so intensely that the two children were almost bucked off of his back. A blue whale? Daniel repeated, regaining his footing. You mean a Balanoptera musculus? Oh, please don't use such big words, wailed the whale. It just reminds me of how stupid I am. As he spoke, the blowhole expanded to let in a disgustingly juicy sniffle. Pardon me, here is the illustration. Maybe I can flash that on the screen in post. Hang tight, back to the story. Well, can't you try to cheer up, Samantha suggested. When I'm sad, I just think about happy stuff like, pizza and birthday cake and trying on my mommy's high-heel shoes and stuff like that. Yeah, Daniel agreed, bending down to pat the whale tenderly on his quivering back. When I get sad, I go to the library or the candy shop, or I call my bubby in Arizona. But, the whale stuttered, but the only thing that makes me happy is being sad. Then there was another enormous eruption of sloppy goo. This one was so extreme that it forced Samantha and Daniel both to dive for cover. As the whale continued to blubber, Daniel noticed the faint forms of cliffs way off in the distance. Look, he said, tugging on Samantha's shirt sleeve, pointing toward the shore. There's dry land right over there. Land ho! Samantha called out excitedly. Then, with a few hollow knocks on the whale's back, she very impolitely requested, You think you could drop us off at that beach over there, Snifflepuss? Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? The whale choked sadly. You'd like to see me dashed on those rocks. You wish I was washed up. That's okay, I wish I was too. Daniel pondered aloud. He can't get too close or else he'll get stuck. Well, I can't take much more of him and all his belly aching, Samantha replied. Come on, it's not all that far. Let's just swim. Swim, Daniel repeated, as if this was the most foolish thing he'd ever heard. But what about sharks or poison jellyfish, the undertow, the riptide, But before he could get another word in edgewise, Samantha tripped him into the water with a terrific splash. Then, pinching her nose and puffing out her cheeks, she sprang from the whale's back like a bullfrog, cannonballing fearlessly deep into the frothy waves. Hasha! And to continue the story of Samantha Muffinbaker and the Funny Land of Flinck, go to my website, Clyde Always. There's a link to get yourselves a copy. A hot copy. A copy hot off the presses. From an Amazon store near you, I'm sure. Anyway, I know, it's a drag, but we did it, man. We can't get mad at him. It was our fault. We're the ones who shopped there. Anyway, hey, everybody, I'm Clyde Always. Don't get me started, okay? I'm serious. Anyway, we have reached that pinnacle point in the episode where we are going to tonight's Artist Spotlight. Oh, and I've got a good one for you tonight, everybody. But I got to admit that I am kind of winging it, and I wish I had put a little more thought and preparation into the research. But once again, the Artist Spotlight is not a full-on biography. It's more just an opportunity for me to point out to you some artist, some dreamer, some free thinker, some doer, some maker of wonderful, blissful things, whatever it may be. And we've had all kinds. We've had filmmakers, we've had painters, we've had writers, we've had comedians, and we've had now an engineer, okay? We've had all kinds of amazing free thinkers, of amazing creatives, all right, that we've spotlighted here. And I do say we because I'm referring to myself and, of course, dear Kaylee, all right? She's an integral part of this operation, all right? Anyway, today's Artist Spotlight is Theodor Seuss Geisel, all right? More commonly known by his pen name, Dr. Seuss. And Dr. Seuss, seeing as how I am an author-illustrator, all right, is what you might call an idol of mine. He is an inspiration, all right? He was an influence on me, to be certain, okay? Now, Dr. Seuss, beyond being a stellar illustrator, was a poet of unrivaled proportions as far as I'm concerned. Now, I mean, you could say that him and Ogden Nash probably had it out in who could make up words better. But, of course, they were of different cuts here, you know? But nobody could make up nonsense words like Dr. Seuss, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm a poet. I am in the business of making up nonsense words at times. I like to do it. It's fun. For instance, you could say flarfully floof, okay? You could say flarfully floof. Now, that is rather Seussy, and I'm sure he's probably already thought of that. But immediately that might bring to mind some component of that stuff that's in the lint tray in the dryer. Flarfity floof, of course. That's what the lint is made of. I don't know. But the point is that this man did it. He made an empire out of doing precisely what I've just done. Okay? I mean, if what I just did was drop a pebble, all right? He made the Burj Khalifa of funny words. Dr. Seuss, on top of that, you could argue that he wasn't the greatest illustrator the world has ever seen. I mean, that argument could be made. But certainly one of the most distinctive styles that has ever come along. I mean, if you go all the way back to those fucking cave paintings in France or whatever. I mean, can there be anything more distinctive than a Dr. Seuss character? Just unabashedly, man, did he create these fucking funny looking things, man. Oh, these furry little guys. Everything in a Dr. Seuss illustration springs to life in your mind's eye. He was so completely wrapped up in his creative state. Can you imagine the worlds of fucking bliss at work? The nuclear blasts going on in that man's mind as he was bringing those books into the world. And what's funny, too, is, you know, at a glance, you might say, oh, this is just nonsense. He must have just rattled this off in 2 seconds. He even said, I know it looks like I rattled this stuff off, but every syllable is a birth in and of itself. Bringing that into the world. And before I conclude my spotlight of Dr. Seuss, and I've got to tip my hat all the way off to Dr. Seuss, thank you for doing what you did. In fact, one of his most famous works is called How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Is that what it's called? I think it's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, right? Anyway. The Grinch, man. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway. Now, this was made into a short film, an animation, back during his lifetime. And that one was great. I love that. I find nothing wrong with that because the doctor himself had a large hand in its making. But, dear Lord, in recent years, I mean, first there was that abomination starring Jim Carrey. And as much as I love Jim Carrey, I'm sure he'll be an Artist Spotlight in a few weeks or so. I don't know, but that really sucked. But the one that really double time sucked, oh my God, was this new one. This computer animated one that I just saw as a feature-length one. I'm sorry, pardon me. Fucked it up, man. as far as I'm concerned, if I was Dr. Seuss, I would look at that and I would say, well, you guys certainly made a buck off of smearing my vision into an unrecognizable pile of dribbly block. That's a new word, dribbly block. Anyway, Dr. Seuss, my hat's off to you. Now, before I conclude the artist spotlight of Dr. Seuss, I have got to say, what a fucking triumph he made. All right? For people like you and me, the creatives out there. In that, and I don't know how much truth there is in this anecdote, but I heard, this is the way the story goes, that Dr. Seuss was at a cocktail party back in the early 60s, back when there was a lot of boozing and shit. And there were a lot of, highfalutin types at this cocktail party. And a world-renowned brain surgeon, not kidding you, which I'm sure was a pretty novel profession at the time. I'm sure there weren't too many brain surgeons hanging around back then. Anyway, this world-renowned brain surgeon supposedly came up to Dr. Seuss at the party and said, "Oh, yes, pleasure to meet you. You're the one who writes those children's books. Is that correct?" "Yes." "Well, I was thinking one of these days, when I get some spare time, that is, I'll sit down and I'll write one of those." To which Dr. Seuss replied, and if you've never heard this anecdote, I'm really happy to be sharing it with you. To which Dr. Seuss replied, "Fantastic idea, sir. Well, perhaps maybe one of these days, when I get some free time, I'll sit down and perform brain surgery." Pretty snide. Love that shit. Thank you for that, Dr. Seuss. Thank you for rubbing that fucking asshole's nose in it. What you did was unparalleled. All right? And it's left its mark on the world. And it has improved so many people's lives. So let's just remember that. That was indeed his intention as an artist, was to improve your life in some way or other. Okay, and that concludes today's Artist Spotlight. Hats off to Theodor Seuss Geisel. Thank you guys for watching. And maybe that will inspire you to go over to your bookshelf. I'm sure you got one or two. Pick one up and just take a good, long, hard look at it. And imagine that mind at work, bringing it into the world. Okay. Hey everybody, I would like to leave you with a brief anecdote, okay, because we are running short on time, but seeing as how this is sort of what you might call my Christmas episode, because it is airing the Wednesday before the Friday that is Christmas, here's what I'd like to tell you about. Christmas Eve, 2011, me and my buddy Tommy were on the road, and we were down in Hobbs, New Mexico. And we'd been dropped off there by a nice guy who was coming from Tucson. We'd gotten picked up just outside of... No, we were out in Wilcox when he picked us up, which is like an hour outside of Tucson. Oh, we're way deep. We're down by the border, okay? We're down where it's fucking gangland. Oh, man, we were down in the desert. And it was snowing, too, because you're up there in the Rocky Mountains. The elevation is high enough. We had camped... Oh, my God. We had camped in a manger scene in Tucson, outside of Tucson, Arizona. Not kidding you. There's a covered manger scene, and he and I laid out with our little packs and everything down in, with baby Jesus and everybody. That was cozy. Those were some cozy digs that night. Anyway, we had gotten picked up in Wilcox by this cat. This real nice guy. Can't remember his name. But he had a wife and kids, and they were already in Hobbs waiting for him to join. He had to finish work in Tucson, which is where they lived, and then go meet his wife's family, where she's from Hobbs, New Mexico. And Hobbs is right on the border of Texas. So anyway, he gives us a ride all the way to Hobbs. Really nice fucking guy. I mean, he was so cool. He was descended from Native Americans. I don't know how full-blooded he was or anything, but certainly into all of his culture and everything, talking to us about it, which was great. It was really fun to learn about. Anyway, drops us off in Hobbs, New Mexico, and me and Tommy got no place to go. And it's Christmas fucking Eve, too. And it's snowing. So what do you do on Christmas Eve? You go to midnight mass. So we went to midnight mass there in Hobbs, New Mexico. And the priest afterwards said, well, I can't turn you guys out on the street as a good Christian. So please camp out in the church. So me and Tommy slept in the pews in the Catholic church there in Hobbs, New Mexico. I mean, I'm sure there's a few Catholic churches in Hobbs, New Mexico. In one of the Catholic churches in Hobbs, New Mexico. Anyway, the very next morning, he and I were going to find a movie theater and we were going to spend all day at the movie. We were going to have like a triple feature, just watch movies the whole day long because we had nothing else to do and it was Christmas. Would have been fun. But we get picked up by this dude, this Baptist preacher guy named Pastor Smalls. Pretty sure that was his name. So anyway, I know it was Smalls. maybe it was Reverend Smalls. It was one of those two. Anyway, I mean, if he was British, it would be Vicar Smalls, right? No, do you call him Vic? No, I don't know. Whatever. I'm just saying. The man was a preacher, and his name was Smalls. So Smalls takes us back to his house, to his family, all right? And we were given Christmas quarter and, oh my God, and all the most delicious foods you could eat. Southwestern staples, too. Queso out of a fucking crock pot. You ever had queso out of a crock pot? It's delicious. Mama Smalls, she even gave us Christmas presents. She gave us $50 gift certificates to Walmart. And I know that sounds lame, but we had just been taken in. These are the best people, man. You meet the best people when you just put yourself out there. Just do it. If you're a young man or even a young woman, I'm not saying go hitchhiking. I'm just saying find your adventure and go on it. And there's going to be lots of people, your parents, I don't know, your teachers. They're going to say, don't do this, though. It's too crazy. It's too dangerous. Just go do it. Go do whatever it is you got to do. Go have an adventure. And I promise you, you will meet the best people you've ever met in your life. And maybe you won't maintain contact or correspondence for the rest of your life. It's not like you're going to meet, a bazillion new friends. I'm merely stating. Think those happy thoughts. Think those healthy thoughts. And the world will smile on you. And your life will be extraordinary. And of course, there's more to that Christmas story, but I'll just leave it at that for now. We're going on 40 minutes. It's been my pleasure, everybody, to host you back in the old story salon tonight, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas or a bountiful Kwanzaa. I'm just kidding. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see ya next week. I hope. Anyway, farewell. See you later.